Hello everyone, this is Sister Garver. I just wanted to quickly go over your week 3 assignments, just kind of give you a little overview about them. So first of all, you'll have 2 required journals this week. Here's this first one and here's the second one. You will have, for each journal, you have a choice between 2 different topics. So you'll either fill out Journal 4 or Journal 5, or for this journal, you'll either fill out Journal 6 or Journal 7 in order to get full credit on the assignment. Just so you're aware, you do have an extra credit opportunity this week. If you choose to do both topics, then you can receive 5 extra credit points for the second journal. So if you do 4 and 5, you'll get 5 extra credit points. If you do 6 and 7, you'll get another 5 extra credit points. So a total of 10 extra credit points possible for the journals this week. So just be aware of that you can receive extra credit for those if you choose to do both topics. So you have those journals. I wanted to just go over them briefly. And of course, if you have questions, please let me know. So Journal 4 is about personal responsibility. And it is, you'll fill out the sentence stems, you just finish the sentence, and then there's a couple of reflection questions after that. So I'm expecting, shorter answers on these and then longer answers on the reflection questions. But that one's fairly straightforward. For Journal 5, it's talking about practicing creator language. Make sure that you have read the chapter before you do this assignment. Otherwise, some of this is not going to make as much sense with the victim versus creator statements. But this exercise is just going to have you practice changing some victim language into creator language. Now, remember that the hallmarks of victim language are blaming others, blaming self, or putting responsibility off onto someone else. Also making excuses and inaction. Those are kind of the hallmarks of victim language. It's kind of, it tends to lead to not acting on something, versus creator language almost always leads to positive action. And so when you're doing your creator language, make sure that you put a positive action. This is what I'm going to do to solve this problem. So for example, there's this example of victim language. I'm too shy to ask questions. For example, a solution might be, I will write down my questions and email the teacher later. So each of the creator language that you're going to be revising it to should include some kind of positive action that you would do to solve this problem if you had this problem. So that's just a little hint there to make it easier to do the creator language there. For the next required journal, you have the choice between the wise choice process or disputing the inner critic and inner defender. The wise choice process is fairly straightforward. It's the same process that you go through in each of the academic skill plans throughout the semester. It's basically identifying a problem, writing down possible solutions to the problem and their likely outcomes, and then choosing a course of positive action that'll most likely get the outcome that you want. So that's fairly straightforward as well. And again, you practice that. You'll practice that each week with the academic skill plans. The disputing the inner critic and inner defender, this is one that students have a little bit more trouble with because these concepts are kind of new. Again, make sure you're reading the text to really get the comprehension on that. But just to kind of make it, just to boil it all down into a nutshell, the inner critic is basically where you point your criticisms inward and you blame yourself. And then the inner defender is when you point your criticisms outward and you blame others for whatever the problem that you're facing. So some students do have trouble with revising the inner critic statement to be inner guide statements. And especially if you're kind of in the habit of being critical with yourself, it can be very difficult to try and to get that positivity that you're looking for the guidance of the Holy Ghost, really, with what would the Holy Ghost tell you about this issue. Instead of blaming you or blaming someone else, the Holy Ghost is going to be more looking for solutions to the problem, looking for a positive spin on it, that kind of thing. So, for example, if the issue is that you had a problem of failing a math class or failing a math test, if you tend to put the blame inward, your automatic thought might be, oh, I'm just bad at the subject, I won't ever be able to get this. You want to try and reframe that into a little bit more positive light, saying, okay, it's not that just I'm bad at this subject. Okay, this is a subject that takes me more time and takes me additional exercises in order to be able to accomplish this. And then turn that to positive action. So saying, okay, I will put aside more time for this class because this takes more time. practicing reframing your thoughts like that, from the negative to the positive and to the positive action, can really have a profound impact in your life. So be thinking about that. How can I make this more positive? What would I tell a friend of mine that was having struggles with this, that was saying, oh, I'm so bad at math? What would you tell them to help encourage them? Because we tend to be a lot more unkind to ourselves than we would be to another person. So if you kind of try and think of it in that mindset of what advice would I give to someone else who's having this problem, then that can help you to reframe those critical thoughts and change them to more positive, action-oriented thoughts. And it's very similar with the inner defender. The primary difference with the inner defender is the inner defender is pointing that blame outward. So instead of saying, I'm bad at math, say, I have a bad math teacher, for example. And so because that's not very helpful, we also want to reframe those outward blaming thoughts into something that is more positive and more action oriented. So what am I going to do about this issue? I'm having trouble understanding the math lectures. What am I going to do to fix that? Am I going to talk to the teacher? Am I going to find a tutor? Am I going to ask a friend? What am I going to do about that? And again, reframing those thoughts from blame to positive action. So that's kind of the essence of this journal entry, if you choose that one. Okay, so that's the main things to be aware of with the journals. You're going to have your quiz this week, which is fairly straightforward. Just read the chapter. You can take the notes and use your notes and your book on the quiz. So fairly straightforward there. Just a quick reminder that we are having our class, our next live meeting this week. You don't have to attend the meeting live. Remember that you can get full credit if you attend the meeting. You can get full credit for watching the recording. You don't have to attend live, but if you attend live, you can get 5 extra credit points. Also, be aware that I'm just going over this here, that there are some videos that you should watch before attending the meeting or before filling out your report. Also, the thing that tends to throw off a lot of students here is it will say, if you watch the recording, answer the questions from step 5. That's referring to these questions here. So these are the questions that if you're attending the meeting live, you should read over these questions, kind of think about them before you come to the meeting. If you watch the recording, then you need to answer these questions here on the report, as well as the questions down below. So there's 2 sets of questions that you have to answer, and half the points go to each. So half the points are going to go to these questions, half the points are going to go to those questions. So make sure that you do both, otherwise you're going to lose points on the meeting report when you fill that out. So just be aware of that if you're attending the meeting live, make sure that you look over the preparation materials beforehand. If you are planning on watching the recording, make sure that you watch these videos and before you watch the meeting. And then when you fill out the report afterward, make sure that you fill out these questions here in step 5, and then also these questions here at the end, because that's the biggest thing that throws off a lot of my students, is that they'll miss either these questions here or these questions at the bottom. So just be aware that they both need to be completed if you are watching the meeting recording. Okay, so that's what we have pretty much for week 3. Please let me know if we have any questions on that. Oh, one other thing that might be a little bit difficult that I noticed here in the week 3 reading report. So the instructions don't quite match up here with where the thing is in the workbook. So it says here that you are looking for this title on the left side of the workbook to jump you down to the academic skill report. That title is not actually there. I'm not sure what happened there. Some kind of someone forgot to put that in or something. So the way that you find your reading report this week, click down to the final journal heading and then just scroll down from there to find the reading plan report. For some reason, all of the reports are at the very end of the workbook, and there's no headings to jump you straight to them. So to find all of those academic skill plan reports, just click on the final journal and scroll down until you find it. And for submitting this week, you can just give me the URL here for the final journal. So you'll click on the title for final journal and copy the URL that comes up, and I will just scroll down and find it, because for some reason they did not put headings for the reports into the workbook. So please be aware of that. Just to make it easier to find, just click on final journal and scroll down until you find the reading report form, because there's no heading that'll take you straight to it. Okay, so I hope that answers some questions for everyone and it makes it easier for you to find your assignments. If you have any trouble finding assignments or if you have any questions, please feel free to email me and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.